I was pulling up the Beckett checklist
Mhm.
for the 2026 MLB Top Chrome because so there's 300 cards in the base set, and every base card has a Superfractor 1 of 1, I believe. I need to go through the list, and then you have 1 of 1 like autos, patch cards, dual logo mans, special runs. So I don't know how many cards. It's a lot of 1 of 1s. But the question still arises is if you pull a 1 of 1, it doesn't matter whether you're keeping it for yourself or you are selling it. Just like there's bounties like the Otani back-to-back MVP card where he signed it in kanji. That card isn't worth, in my opinion, a penny more with a grade attached to it than if it didn't have a grade attached to it, right? It doesn't change it at all. It might make you feel good about it, but that's not even authenticating the card. It's just some guy has a subjective grade on it. Like it doesn't change anything. That's my take.
I think that the differentiator between graded cards and not graded cards, when you have a ton of cards, is that the greater differentiator is a better grade, right? So yes, when you have a 1 of 1, it doesn't differentiate it from its peers.
It's population 1. It has a pop of 1.
Yeah. But you'll never be able to know if, so yes, the feeling that you get from it though, some people, it may dissuade some people from buying it. Like let's say it's an 8, comes back at 8.5. Then how does the person, let's say the double logo man that was pulled with Shohei and the kanji comes back at 8. So you don't think it's going to affect the total grade or total amount that's paid when it goes to auction? You don't think what's his name?
I don't really think so. Do you know why? Here's why. There's examples of rare cards, like there's older sports rookie cards, for instance, where there's no examples of a 10.
Sorry.
And maybe there's no 9s either. Maybe there was 400 cards and the highest graded example of a graded card is an 8.5 or an 8. I think history tells us that 8.5 or 8 just becomes the 10, if you will.
You can't tell that. There's because you have nothing to compare.
No, that's true. But what I mean by that, like somebody could say theoretically, hypothetically, if there was a 10, well, it must be worth X amount, right? What I'm saying is that, say a card is 35 years old, and the nicest example of one, and there's comics, right? There's comics where, a crown jewel is a 6, but there's cards that have no 10s and have no 9s, and so an 8 becomes that peak, right? Becomes the nicest example of. So hypothetically, you could say, well, if it was a 9 or a 10, you'd have this, or if it was a pristine, BGS, it would be this. But it's just a hypothetical number.
Correct.
In reality, to your point, if you have a 1 of 1 and it just happens to get an 8.5 or an 8 or a 7 because it just is what it is, does it really change the value that somebody places on it because they just want to acquire that card is what they're willing to pay? I don't think so, because all of the bounties and things that I see, like there's a bounty right now on a Cooper Flag 1 of 1 that's going to be in the NBA set that drops tomorrow, Thursday. It drops tomorrow. There's like a $2 million bounty on that card right now. If it's got a dinged corner, and by the way,
did you see who put that bounty out?
No, I heard it.
It's a OF model.
Really?
Yeah, the one that jumps on the Rolls Royce and says Rolls Royce. Yeah,
I don't even know. No, I don't know this.
Well,
anyways, I heard there's a bounty. Okay, that makes it worse.
Yes,
actually, and I hope that that's not the person that ends up getting that card. But my point is that there's no one's putting a bounty out on a perfect one of one or whatever. They just want the one of one. If they get it graded and you get a nice grade, it makes
Yeah.
you feel that much better about it being
It
in your
does.
possession. But
It does. But I think so. Unfortunately, you'll never know because you can't have a multi-dimensional situation where you can account for the one that was a 10 versus the one that was an 8 and the final price because you have no comparison, you have no way to know both outcomes. Somewhat, I mean, I would argue that I think there are potential buyers that would exit if it were a lower, like that they wanted that card in a 10. If it comes back an 8, maybe they won't want that card, and so that buyer steps out. Maybe that buyer wasn't the top buyer.
But on one of ones, it's the like the quintessential find another, meaning there is no better card.
Correct. The thing is that, did you see the way they were combating this? I saw that, I can't remember if it was Topps. They said that if you get it and you get a redemption and you send it in and it doesn't come back a 10, they will fix it. You didn't see that? That was also out there. How will they fix it? I have no idea.
That just means that they're
or will they fix
making you a new card? Yeah.
You tell me. I'm saying that's what Topps has put out as an official statement for the redemptions. If it comes back, it doesn't get the grade a 10. They
from who?
They will correct
from PSA.
That's from Topps.
No, well, but they don't. So they're not distinguishing.
They haven't distinguished how they would.
It could be with like AGC, like one of these, fly by night graders.
They didn't. I don't know if they really dictated how they would fix it. Maybe they'll give you some sort of financial compensation. I don't know, but there is something.
It sounds like they're fixing the card.
That's what I thought when I read it. I'll find the article. I mean, I wish I could pull it up. I could probably find and pull it up. But
anyways, so they're saying they'll perfect the card. These are things that it ruins the hobby. It just ruins the hobby. Here's another thing I'll say. So everyone's saying that if you want to have fun ripping cards, then go to Sam's, go to Costco, go to Target, go to Walmart. You can buy a retail box. That was the only thing I had when I was a kid. And I don't even think, when I was a kid, you bought packs or you bought the box, and the box had every card, and that was it. It had every card, so you knew it. Like it had these rookie cards, so there wasn't all these parallels and Superfractors. But nowadays, they're saying if you want to have fun, just ripping packs, go buy retail, fine, but don't do it because as an investment. Right now, you have to buy hobby, and the only way to get hobby is if you can score on release day from the manufacturers, from like Upper Deck, Topps, whatever.
Yeah.
Or have a really good relationship with your local, collector store, local card shop. And even then, if you can buy it for MSRP, I don't know. The new, the card vault stores that Tom Brady has,
yep.
There's no price raising. So they only sell an MSRP, supposedly.
Interesting.
Great.
So there are lines coming out of there, like to get at MSRP?
It's still expensive, right? Like, I mean, the hobby boxes are still expensive, so you're still going to spend way more than retail. But the return can be greater. But everyone's saying, well, the only people that are getting these hits are the, breakers. But that's really because they just do so much in volume. And because everything's
I think that's a
recorded.
Bias.
It's selection bias, and it's recorded, so you don't hear about other people because they're not doing it on on a live stream or on whatnot. So those kind of complaints are. Yeah. I look at that. I'm like, well, of course it's recorded, because they're always like, well, of course there's cameras set up, and of course, it's like, of course there's cameras set up. That's what they do, right? And more power to them, especially if they've grown a business.
Every single opening, in case something happened. But it looks like if you go through our live stream, our channel, that I hit something every day, which is absolutely not true.
Right, as opposed to a late night rally of
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to do what I did. So
no.
What I'm saying is that yes, when you show like only the hype, it's just like Instagram. It shows how wonderful everyone's life is all the time.
You see success, you don't see the journey. You don't see the pain and the damaged fingers. But that's another topic altogether. It's just the whole
I think this
hobby versus
transcends not just
retail.
sports cards. Obviously, this is with the trading card games and with even in lower like Marvel cards or because that's where I started opening Marvel cards and stuff. And this argument about the 1 of 1 and why you grade, because that's a constant source of people discussing. Do you want why when people show they're graded 1 of 1 and people then there'll be a whole long list of people complaining about why would you grade a 1 of 1 in this. And I think the person, including me, who's done a graded 1 of 1, doesn't really care what they hear the other people say because they did it for themselves. As you mentioned before, it's for yourself.
Yeah.
I
will say this too: when you grade a card now, especially from a legitimate, reputable company, now there's further documentation of that card. There's record of it. There's some provenance that just got added to it.
Yeah, I think there's value added.
Yeah,
for
sure. I think there's value add beyond just look what grade it got.
And PSA makes sure that they get that value because they upcharge you.
Of course.
When you grade it, which is funny because not all grading companies do that, right? Beckett doesn't do that. PSA does that. I don't know if CGC does it. I don't think CGC does it yet. And PSA is funny how they get around it. You know how they get around it? They don't just say, "Well, we're going to charge you a percentage." They do they at some grade level they do, but they say it has to do with the increased insurance they have to pay in order to get it back to you safely.
I think then I'd like to see examples of somebody you've been involved with this as well, but I'd like to see examples of someone having a really high value card go missing.
Yeah.
And then see if PSA will actually compensate for.
Or what if someone said, you know what, keep my card. I'm going to fly out to you to California and just pick it up, and you don't have to worry about the insurance. I'm going to just come and get it from you. Let's see if they let you do that.
Which that'd be interesting too.
Right? Because then the insurance issue doesn't. Oh, it's insurance for them to physically hand it to you. No.
Yeah, no.
I believe it's just legal writing that they tried to use to protect themselves for this, but no one's actually challenged. There was actually a legal document going around where someone was attempting to challenge because they said that they thought that they found a weakness in that argument, but it doesn't matter because if everyone who complains about PSA who says it's horrible, there's no accountability, this, that, and the other, it's overwhelmed by the throngs of people that continue to send them cards.
Well, even the people that are complaining
who are also
the enablers.
Yes.
So, and I see them and they continue to send stuff to PSA.
Because you can make money.
Do you know why too? There's some people, they just don't want a mix of what their slabbed cards look like.
Yep.
See, once they start down the PSA road,
they
just want all PSA.
Even though PSA, I think, is the ugliest. This is my subjective.
It is.
It's
the ugliest.
Slab. It's the ugliest slab.
It is.
Dated.
It is. I like Tag. I like Tag. I think Tag
is the
best. I think it's one of the best looking ones.
Aesthetically, very pleasing.
Aesthetically. Now, depending on the grade you get, like with BGS, you can have an aesthetically pleasing case too. And there's something about obviously a grade that makes the whole thing look a little bit more shiny.
Yeah, it's a nice bow that they put on everything. Because I have 1 of 1s that I have a great 1 of 1, graded a 9. I was upset at that because it was a 9. 9's better than an 8, but it wasn't a 10. But I know somebody who also grades with CGC, who has a lot of influence. This is all subjective opinion and theorizing. It seems like they get lots of 10s. I don't know. But that person's 10 1 of 1 looks better than my 9 1 of 1.
I don't know if they do blind grading, meaning there's no name attached. We know for a fact.
They're supposed.
We know for a fact that if you do like CGC's signature series and you are paying for that service, that the person who is at least doing it very much knows who they're doing it for if they bother to even look. So I don't think that it's blind.
But it's supposed to be blind. Is it blind? Just like many things, is it?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think that the presumption is, though, by the public is that it's supposed to be blind, but in reality, everyone also knows that it's not.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's why people complain about all types of things, like influencer boxes. Apparently are juiced and they get all the good cards and this, that, and the other. Who knows?
There's too many variables. You have early prints, early boxes that sometimes tend to be a little bit more juiced, it seems. Some of that I can understand. Like, if
again,
you
that could
build
be
excitement
too. I don't know. You don't know.
Again,
in the end, if we're talking about in my line of work, there's an accountability because lawyers will come after you, right? There's I don't know if there's any accountability in any of this, right?
No, that's the problem. That's the reason why people like some of the AI services like Tag, because there's a lot of descriptive notes, and so you can see exactly why a grade is the way it's graded. And within a grade, you can see how good your card is. So you can get a 10 and feel like you got like a 91. You got an A, but you got a 91. And then there's people with tag 10s that got a 99, right? So
I would
like
argue that people most people actually don't. Okay, so I would say the majority of people that are in this hobby to make money don't care what the grade is. They only care what they end up getting financially from the payout, right? So they don't care if their card is cut in half but still gets a 10 in there, as long as it sells to the other person who buys a 10 case. Okay, I think there are a lot of people like that. Most of the people that are driving the market are that person.
Most people that are driving the market are retailers.
We want a 10 that actually is a center card. Like you and I would, if we got a 10 that was obviously off center, that would be upsetting, right? But to the person that's selling hundreds of slabs or selling it over to China, someone over there, they don't care if it's a 10 or if it's a good 10 or a bad 10. It's going to get the same amount of money in that exchange. So again, there's two, like there's the collector and then there's the person who's in business, right? And they could be the same person, but because what you're talking about, the one of one, that's the collector perspective. Why does it really matter? Maybe not, but there is a
maybe not. I mean, some people do it. I've heard the argument that some people end up doing it just because it protects the card.
Well, then you would just authenticate it.
Yeah, well, but some people might as well.
Yeah, but that's risky because the thing that looks ugly is if it comes back an 8 or 7 or something horrible. That would look horrible.
Yeah, that's true.
That would make the package not look as pretty.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is why, like I said, I won't send a black label to NBA unless it's going to come back with a black diamond. If it comes back with anything less than a black diamond on a black label, it's not a black label then. PGS, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Black label with a gold thing on it.
It ends up being
that looks horrible.
It takes away from it.
Almost no, unless you're going to get a black label back or you're going to take that sticker right off. Why would you ever send your black label BGS to get NBA unless it comes back with a black label, a black diamond, right?
It brings up a whole other topic: is why
exactly.
send a graded card
more complex thing, but that's my personal feeling. I would never.
I'm talking about double grading.
Double grading,
because in the future, right, you're gonna have a card that you sent to PSA and to differentiate it, you can send it to CGC to get a gold sticker. NBA is gonna put their little foil sticker on it, right? And then to top it all off, you can send over to Beckett to see if they'll stamp it with their seal of approval, and you can be like, the only triple graded pristine 10 ever.
Yes,
right.
It's coming.
Yep,
I'm sure.
Yep. Further validated by Mr. Baker. So
yes. Yeah, I know. It's
the whole grading thing. I think is such a. I get it.
A hornet's nest.
You know me, because sometimes you'll ask me like, "Are you gonna send something in to get graded?" I'm like, if I'm keeping it, that's
That's actually my feeling too, because I have a bunch of Pokemon cards that I don't grade it because I don't know if it's gonna get a 10, but I don't feel it changes my feeling on it. It could definitely change it the other way. I could feel worse about it.
Now, there's obviously examples. You talk about Pokemon. There's examples of a handful of like Pikachu cards, right? That you could have bought a couple of years ago for $500 to $5,000, and they're all like in the six figures as PSA 10s, where there's a huge drop if it's not graded, of course. So in that instance, you would take it
because that's again if we're talking about the topic of
here's what I was gonna say. Even if you're keeping it, right, simply from a replacement value for insurance, for instance, you'd almost be tempted to get it graded.
Well, yes, I would think yes. They insurance company's gonna want. They don't care what the grade is. They just care that someone else is objectively, or at least someone's appraised it.
That's what I mean. Right? If your basement floods, right, you said, "Oh no, I had Pikachu cards that are worth $1 million on there."
Yeah. Well, hopefully you had it
show me.
But yeah,
correct. Yeah. Well, but that's just it, right? Part of an appraisal is, well, what is the card graded at? So,
when you and I, because you brought this up, when you and I collected cards as kids, what, 20 or 30 years ago, right?
Yeah, longer.
We were thinking we would get rich if we pulled the Mickey Mantle, whatever, period. Or for me, I was collecting Peter Forsberg cards, who was a hockey player. I was like, really wanted this Peter Forsberg card. And I get it. I'm so happy. I'm holding it like this. I'm like so happy. And I put it in the top loader and I'm going to be rich. There was no like professional grade. Someone would look at it and be like, yeah, that's mint or that's near mint.
It's worse than that. When I was a kid and you went to like a card shop, they'd have a little round sticker price tag stuck right on the card sometimes.
Yeah. Yes.
And you just take your fingernail and you peel it off. Or it would be, if it was a nice rookie card, right? Like if it was a Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh, it would be in those
rookie card.
It would be in those like screw ones. They had screws.
They had screw ones.
Or
it would be in a proper penny sleeve top loader, and on the top of the top loader in like silver or gold, they would say rookie card.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on the top, rookie card, right on the top loader. Yeah. And that was really special. Rookie card. That's how you knew it was rookie card, because it was a rookie card, right?
Yeah.
And then there was always
and there was one rookie card, but there might be two. There might be a top
true rookie card.
Yeah.
Because like this one was printed at the end of 1987, so that was his actual rookie card. Anyway, so it'd say rookie card, the card be in there, and
you know how you knew that too? You opened up a Beckett guide.
You opened up Beckett,
Beckett guide, and you read your Beckett guide and told you that.
You wouldn't pick the card up and be like, it's not centered right here. It's a little top heavy. Yeah, no. I'm not gonna buy that card. And you didn't negotiate based on how perfect of a card it was. It's just the price was the price kind of.
Price of the price. Well, no, I remember Beckett had like 3 columns. They had like mint,
good,
one tear, and like
No, I think it was like good, very good.
Like grades, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
It was mint.
If you're a kid, you always just looked at it and like, my card's perfect. So
yeah, everyone's card was perfect though. Like even if it was like missing a corner, or it's perfect, right? This is the old days.
Yeah.
Comic books were like that too. Like because you see all these comic books that come back like, I don't know. And then if you have the comic book that comes back at like, what is it? They had that first Superman that came back at 9 that was found in a basement. Oh my gosh.
That's ridiculous.
Ridiculous. In California, I don't know how. I don't know.
That was
fate.
That was ridiculous.
Like that.
When most people are having to deal with the loss of a loved one, like a grandparent, they typically don't have a rejoiceful celebration.
Yeah. The story was what their mother had
something like that. Collection?
Yeah. I asked my mom, and no such luck.
Yeah. I tell you what though, when people are seeing sports cards now, it makes you either regret not like keeping everything, or it makes you want to like go hunt around and look through your old binders, because most of my cards were in binders, and you didn't realize how much flex that was. It's not
every
really
time you
good
read
for
through it,
cards.
and you'd like catch and be like, oh, just kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
You have a story, right? Your spouse had Charizard cards that she just threw away, right?
She had cards in 99, 2000, 2001.
Like
And
original
she said when they moved, she was like, what are you talking about, Pokemon? It was, like, not even a year ago. She's like, Pokemon. She's like, I had Pokemon cards. I'm like, really? Where are they? And she said, when we moved out of the house, I think my mom either threw them away or we donated them and put them in the donate pile. I'm like, what? She said, yeah, I had just binders. She's like, I had at least a couple of
like
Charizards.
first edition.
I'm like,
First
what?
edition. Yeah.
And she said, well, they wouldn't have been perfect. We took them to school and we traded cards and stuff. I was like, it
They'd
doesn't
only be
matter.
worth like 20,000 each, not 50,000, right?
It's such a painful thing. And I've asked her a couple of times, I'm like, you sure they're not just in a box somewhere? She's like, no,
They
no
may
way.
be. They might be. They still may resurface like the Phoenix.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's such a sad thing. I didn't collect Pokemon cards. I didn't play Pokemon, didn't collect Pokemon.
It came out after I just passed that time too.
And in 99, 2000, I certainly wasn't spending any money on cards in general around that time. So wouldn't have had that. There's some things.
I knew about cards. Like I played Magic, and I knew what the Black Lotus was. And back then, a Black Lotus was like $100.
Yeah.
$100. Never pay so much for a card like that. And then
looking back,
yeah. Well, who knew? We had no clue. No clue. We thought a $5 card being worth $50 was like winning the lottery back then, and that felt like. And we had no clue.
Yeah, $100 card back then. If you knew you had a card that was $100, that was $1 million.
Yeah. No one knew it. No one knew this about guitars. No one knew this about anything. No one knew this about maybe a Ferrari GTOs or 250 GTOs. Maybe someone thought no. Even there's a story locally of a very well-known Porsche collector who had the chance to buy either a 250 GTO or a 356 or something like that. And he picked the 356.
Well, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did. And he still talks about it. Because even if it was the worst example of a 250 GTO Ferrari, how much is that?
It wouldn't matter. Yeah.
I don't know. 20 million, 30 million, 50 million, 80 million? I don't know. There's only 37 of them, right? So something like that.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that I wish I would have kept when I was younger.
Well, that's why we create hoarders like us.
I used to collect Sports Illustrated, and this was back when
Do you have the LeBron?
Those magazines were valued. They felt like they were valuable. So I remember this was when like Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, for instance, were battling back and forth, and every week the Sports Illustrated would have one of them on the cover. And I would get the Sports Illustrated, and I would keep it really, really nice. And it just so happens that those types of things have just started coming back.
Oh, that's cool.
Into view. And there's part of me that's like, because I held on to some of that stuff forever. I would have the USA Today with if something's noteworthy in sports, like it could be the NBA championship, Yankees win the World Series. I would have the cover of the USA Today with that. And I would also collect unopened. I had so many boxes of Wheaties that weren't opened because
Where
it was
are they?
again.
Where are they? Are they still here?
I just got rid of them at some because they had some intrinsic value, but they had no like market value. So
I had the Star Wars Pepsi cans from episode 1.
Oh, you should have held on to them.
I had them. I did hold them, and then they burst and spilled soda everywhere. In the heat of my
because
attic.
of cans.
They were in cans.
Yeah,
so I came up there one time and they were empty. I was like, "What is going on? Why I didn't open these?"
And they popped.
But it was years later, so I think they had evaporated. But the sugar was still there.
I have bottles commemorative Coca-Cola bottles that still have Coke in them that are not opened.
Probably tastes just fine.
From like I have like Clemson national championship and like Giants, like some rare things. They have no real value, I'm sure. But the Wheatie boxes, and I have not gotten rid of them now today. Like I have where Mark McGwire hit his last home run. I have all of the ones with Barry Bonds because
Yeah.
so I have all the ones with Barry Bonds. You can take those in and get them graded now. So you could have a graded box of Wheaties, and like mine's blown. Like I'm just like, what?
You didn't have the foresight. You didn't keep it, so it doesn't matter.
You know why I moved on to like real collectibles? Like I was trying to make it a collectible. Like I used to like decorate a little bit with Wheaties boxes. Like instead of statues, right? Like instead of toys,
Yeah.
I'd have, because it's cheap. You're spending $3.
Yeah. I have that kind of feeling too, the real collectibles, because when I started to collect like the original art and stuff like that, it changed my feeling on comic books. I just
yeah.
If you know, once you buy a piece of original art, you will feel like you own more than just the comic book.
Yeah. No, that's
how it felt
true.
when I first bought my first one. I don't have many, but it made my feelings about comic books seem like that's kind of silly. That you want a mass-produced product that's compared to like the original art that it's made from. But that's a whole different discussion.
At the same time, you'll have like a few, or maybe many copies of the book. You have the original source material on. Yeah. So, and it's cool to see other people have that too. It's cool when you see, you talk about comic books, but if you have some notable covers and you see that 8 million people bought this book, it's kind of cool.
It is cool. And I've noticed that too when you discuss it. It's sometimes hard to explain what you're talking about with original art, that you own the original piece. Because before, I know this because it sounds very, very strange, but before I had purchased the original art, I didn't even understand the concept of there being original art. I don't know why. It didn't occur to me that
you didn't actually know that it was a thing, right?
Well, I did. I mean, I guess
because you and I have talked about this a little bit.
Just like before I knew how an engine worked, I didn't understand how. The process. It was just this thing that made your car move. The process of how it happened was like irrelevant to me. So like when I was reading my Jim Lee X-Men ones, I never thought about that he actually drew it and then on a piece of paper that was then taken and colored, and it was always that way. And Jim Lee was the person who made that happen somehow. I never put much thought into it behind that.
Yeah.
But now
I don't think many people do. I think in movies, people buy scripts with like the director's notes. With cartoons, people buy the Cels. The Cel thing is a little bit weird to me because there's like, it seems like just from one cartoon, there's thousands of Cels.
So those Cels they buy, like we saw at Comic-Con, are those actual, like, how does that work?
It's a Cel from that. Yeah.
So like they put that on something and then they
unless it was from the storyboard. So sometimes you'll have Cels from storyboard that weren't used, but most of the Cels that people are collecting were from the actual cartoon.
How's that validated? Is there some sort of mark on it, or they just trust the?
That's a really good point in terms of authenticity. I don't know. I think that's a little bit tough. Clearly, someone's specialty is that.
Yeah. Okay.
But and sometimes when you look at the paper and everything, you'll see like Warner Brothers or things like that. But there's thousands and thousands of Cels in a cartoon.
Yeah.
So the population is just really high. Like you and I could have, like the animated series Batman, right?
Yeah.
I think some of those Cels are pretty cool. But you and I could have like 100 animated Batman Cels from like 15 seconds of the cartoon, right? Because there's so many Cels. And you'd be like, see, in this moment, I have this moment where his arm's like right here. And you're like, yeah, mine's right here. And then he's coming down on this one. And if you really, really get into collecting Cels from cartoons, you would probably get really into the exact moment, right?
Yeah,
That existed in.
I could
You could
see
see how
that
would
would
be a
get that way.
thing.
That's why I'm
Yeah.
gonna avoid that
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah. You don't want
Not gonna start.
to. You would be like, I want to own all the cells from this scene.
And if one of the cells is missing,
Is missing, it would cause you. Yeah.
no, it'll
So
cause me to have an
So
ulcer.
that's a whole other thing. I think some of the cells are cool if it's like an iconic character. Like I saw one with Marvin the Martian. Um, there's one where, uh, well, if you happen to watch those old commercials, there's some iconic scenes and iconic characters. There's like ones where there's a kind of few where Bugs Bunny like dresses up like a woman and tricks Elmer Fudd or whatever. But some of those are a little bit
Or the one with the
cooler.
skunk that's totally like harassing the cat, like
The Rapist.
yeah, you can't even
That cartoon would not work
hard to
today.
watch. Yeah.
No, I think Pepe Le Pew was maybe one of the. I think he was officially one of the poster children for the Me Too movement. So
Yeah.